And welcome to the Carrere Rolled On Show, where we spend 30 minutes or so per week having conversations that matter to the entrepreneur's body, mind, and business. I'm your host, Carrere Rolled On, and I'm a wife, a mother, a runner, a best-selling author, a personal growth junkie, and your total business BFF. And on this show, we cover topics that really run the gamut. From anything from marketing and websites to consciousness and hormones and everything in between. Because I completely understand that all of us are on an entrepreneurial journey, but that our businesses aren't just about our businesses. They're about our whole selves and getting into alignment with what we're meant to be doing here on this planet. And so that's what I aim to do with this show, is to connect you with the people and resources that you need to do that. This episode is sponsored by my 30-day body, mind, business reboot. So if you are ready to balance your hormones, fix your broken metabolism, and get into physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual alignment with your highest calling and the highest calling of your business, then this is for you. So women entrepreneurs who participate in my 30-day body, mind, business reboot lose weight, gain confidence, and finally get comfortable in their own skin again. They lose inches and fit back into the clothes they love. But most importantly, you guys, they gain clarity in their mission and the next incarnation of their business. So if this sounds like music to your ears, head on over to carrierolledon.com/reboot for more info and to read the amazing success stories of people who have gone through the Body Mind Business Reboot. Okay, you guys, I am so excited to have Cindia Carrere on the show today. So the question to start, which is, have you ever heard the phrase, you look like $1 million? And wouldn't it be great if looking like $1 million could actually attract $1 million to you? Well, my guest today, my total business BFF, energy stylist, and intuitive money coach, Cindia Carrere, contends that money attraction isn't all about looking the part. It's about vibrating at the frequency of what you want to attract. And that is exactly what she helps people do. Cindia helps her clients to raise their inner wealth frequency and the vibration of their wardrobes to match the dollar amount they want to attract. And the results, you guys, are pure magic. Her innate gifts as an energy healer, coupled with 20 years in the fashion industry, uniquely qualify Cindia to assist entrepreneurs in the inner and outer up-leveling they need to attract the dollar amounts that they desire. Yep, you pick the number, and Cindia will help you style your energy and your wardrobe to be a vibrational match. So I know you guys already see her on the screen. Cindia, welcome and hello.
Hello, thank you for having me and for writing that beautiful bio.
Hey, you're welcome. I'm super excited to have you here on the show today. I'm so grateful that you hopped in. Actually, last minute, we had someone else scheduled today who was sick, and I texted Cindia this morning and was kind of like, I think this is meant to happen. I think you're supposed to be our guest today. So Cindia, you're no stranger to the Carrere Rolled On show. Like, people who've been watching for a while, and I actually see there are several of you here today who have been watching for a while. So hello, Julie. Hello, Roseanne. Let me see if anybody else is here. Say hello. Let us know in the comments that you are watching us. You're no stranger to the Carrere Rolled On show, and people who have been watching for a while, they've followed your journey as well as mine. We've done series together, and I've introduced you in a really new way today, right? You've stepped into a new incarnation of your business. So I'm wondering if, before we talk about whatever we're going to talk about today, what matters in our businesses, can you give us, tell us, not the short version of your story. Give us your story of what it's been like. What's your entrepreneurial journey been like so far? Yeah, so that's the question, but I'm asking you to do it in a way that's super open, real, and raw, and isn't the highly polished version, is the real stuff.
Well, I know from being around you a lot that you love raw. You love when the tears come. But I would love to, first I want to say hi to Julie and Roseanne and whoever else comes along. Thank you. I want to get back to your body, mind, spirit reboot.
Sure, go for it.
Since this episode or this month is sponsored by it, I am a huge, huge fan of this style of eating. The way that you created this reboot literally has changed my husband and my life, how we eat, and every day. So I kicked and fussed a little bit when I first heard what was required of it. And it took me, let's see, you introduced it, I think, in May of 2016, around there or whatever. And I didn't do it until October of 2016. And now I'm thinking, why did I ever wait? It was so much simpler than I thought. I mean, there's a little complications in trying to change the ingredients, but once you get a clue what's going on, it was exactly true. The body on your reboot becomes a fat burning machine instead of a fat storing machine. And I was able to lose 20 pounds that I got through, the menopause or the freshman 15 or whatever it was. And Groom has lost 20 pounds, and we have completely changed our eating to the point where all the ingredients are clean, fresh, organic. He makes our own mayonnaise, our own breads. We don't eat any grains, alcohol, sugars, hardly ever. There's that 20-80% or something, but it has changed. It's gotten my energy back. I can fit into my clothes, and I've been able to get new clothes, which we'll talk about later, but it's been such an important part of the entrepreneurial journey. So I can't say enough good about it.
I love that you're saying that. And I think it's going to tie in when I decided to sponsor this episode with that product today. I just felt like it was a fit. And as I was getting the show together for having you as a guest, I thought, oh, this is a really good fit, right? Because that program, yes, it's about your eating choices, but it is really like the purpose for it, the purpose in getting your body healthier, right, is to get into alignment, right? Get into a place where you're in physical alignment where you can be a clearer channel for whatever's supposed to come through you. And your work actually takes that, right? It's so complementary because my work is definitely, my work in that program is definitely in the physical and like getting on the cellular level. And your work is on the energetic level. So thank you for the plug. I love it. Cindia actually looks amazing. And I think her video is up on carrieroldan.com/reboot. But give me the dirt. Tell me your story. Your real, raw, honest, this is my entrepreneurial journey so far story.
Well, if I were a master storyteller, I would know exactly where to start and I would know the right hook and everything. But it really does, if you really want to get down and dirty, it starts with me being a minister's daughter. And I grew up in a very, very conservative environment under the spotlight of the church people. And being the minister's daughter, anything that I wore, anything that I said, anything that I did was under the magnifying glass. And that has affected my style choices probably. And also about the money. So what I do is I bring in the money and the style and spirituality, fashion and faith. And what was so intriguing to me as a child, as I was watching, we were not allowed to have money. I mean, the people didn't want to pay or support a minister and his wife and children when the money could be going for other things. So we had like this tiny, tiny, tiny sliver of a salary. And so, I wore hand-me-downs and my mom had to stretch money as far as it could go. And we had powdered milk and all that kind of stuff. So it was not a glamorous lifestyle in any stretch of the imagination. And yet people knocked on our door at all hours, night and day, and wanting a handout, wanting money. And there was such a disconnect. So the minister wasn't allowed to make money, but he was supposed to have it to give out for any emergency. And so that was, I don't know, this is a conversation, not just a dialogue, but.
No, I actually I've heard the part of your story about being a minister's daughter, but I've never heard you talk about that. Like how confusing that must have been as a child to like, wait, we're not, it's interesting as I'm saying it, like, gosh, that must have felt weird to see that your father is valued by the community, but not paid monetarily, like value. Mm-hmm. There must have been some value issues associated with that.
Yeah, there was a disconnect because my dad really walks his walk and talks his talk. Both my parents do. And my dad was there in the trenches. You know, you talk about leadership and they're there lifting up. My parents, my father is such an uplifter. And, you know, at the time, there was more weddings than funerals, you know, when he was younger, and more babies happening. And all through my life, he's always been the one that's gotten up at 3 a.m. or 5 a.m. and gone to the hospital and sat with people who are grieving or waiting through surgeries or car accidents or, you know, all kinds of stuff. So growing up as a minister's daughter, it wasn't all people just being perfect at all. I mean, I saw the rough edges of life right away. I mean, surgeries, accidents, you know, the woman who was just raped who came to our house bloodied, you know, having to go to prisons and wait with my dad in the waiting room, the mental hospitals. I spent most of my life in the waiting room of institutions because my dad was always ministering to people. So I saw people's drunkenness when they were sobbing, when they confessed what was going on, you know. So I just was this little kid absorbing how much really went on behind locked doors, I should say, or, you know, and I had to keep it quiet, like a vault. Right. And so I never could say anything to anybody. And the stuff just played out right in, you know, in front of me. And so I saw how hard my parents worked and how many hours, because it wasn't just 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 or something. It was 24/7. But then the money wasn't there. And I thought, well, if you're of service, why aren't you getting supported for it? And then we're supposed to turn around and support others. We're supposed to support them spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, and financially. And somehow the disconnect has really bothered me. Yeah. And so that's definitely been the impetus for my entrepreneurial journey.
Okay, so wow, I am actually like finding this so interesting just on a personal level, the types of people that I attract. You are one of my closest friends on the planet. I tend to attract people who are psychically gifted, people who are therapists, and you are my second. I have two. You're of my closest friends. Two of you guys grew up as ministers or pastors' daughters, which I just find really interesting. Okay, so let's get back to though your journey. So you started in this place of feeling the disconnect, and it sounds like hearing on some subconscious level, right, that you can't be spiritual and wealthy, that actually you can't be in service to the community and God and others and be paid well.
Right. Yeah, so I didn't rebel. I didn't go through, you know, a rebellious period, but I also didn't follow in that footstep for a while. My parents really wanted me to be a missionary. Oh, they wanted me to be a missionary, and that was not my thing, right? And I will have to say, I thought the missionary position was people having sex in exotic locations. So anyway, that's a little aside. But I grew up with so much drama, people's drama and interrupt. I just said no to the D, like no. So when I started making a living in college, I started working with jewelry and things that were pretty and beautiful and calming to my spirit. And there was no drama whatsoever, except if I knocked over a little bin of beads. That was it. That was like the biggest drama that could happen. And so Groom and I designed jewelry together. We traveled. So I combined the love of travel and jewelry and started fashion shows. And one day, I know this story is probably getting well worn, but it's the story that I found a beautiful, beautiful dress that I fell in love with that was just so above my pay grade, but I had to have it. So I bought it anyway. That I had such an intuitive gut reaction that it was like, you have to get this dress. So I spent the money on it. I bought this dress, and I don't want to say, it could have been the first time I wore it or the second time I wore it, a woman saw me, and she happened to be residing in the Bay Area, and she had an art show in LA, but she happened to see me at a party, and she came up to me and she wanted to know where this dress was, all about it. And she said, how much would it cost for you to fly down to the Bay Area and get me prepared for my LA show? And I was like, I was already in jewelry and designing, and I had always wanted to do this thing called feng shui for the body. And what I saw with my intuitive energetic abilities was that there were features in people, their face, their neck, their hair, the color, that when they were able to highlight their really positive qualities, I could see the energy flowing through them so strongly. They became powerful. They became empowered. And I could see, I call certain colors on people, boy, when you wear that, I bet you get anything that you want, because it's such a clear, supporting color. And then I saw people doing very strange things. I saw a guy with a big wattle, and he was growing facial hair just on his wattle. And I couldn't understand it, like no other hair, and then hairy wattle. And it looked like other parts of the male body hanging down. And I was so confused as to why he was doing that. So me being me, I finally struck up a conversation, and because he was in the art community, and I kind of finally asked him about it, because I couldn't not. And I said, oh, I'm just really self-conscious about it, so I'm hiding it with my hair.
Or highlighting it, however.
And I just couldn't, I was a little more gracious about it, but he did anything but hide it. He made like hairy things hanging down under his neck. And I started watching people, and with the jewelry and everything, people would have their hair or their makeup or something to actually like neon arrows pointing to the very features they were self-conscious about. And so I started paying attention to that, and I saw, feng shui is the art of placement so that the energy flows the best. And the whole point on all of this, in money, in style, in life, in love, is all about flow. And so I know we're rambling a little bit, Carrie, but I have this we're going to come back to the story, is that alignment is flow. And so I make up this little, I'm fake Latin, because most people have patterns that are they're stuck in their patterns, but they want something different. So what I call that is flow, pattern continuous, flow interruptus. And that's the way most people approach their money, their everything. But what happens is they really want to switch that up. They want to have pattern interruptus so they can have flow continuous. So feng shui, as the art of placement, allows the energy to flow in such a harmonic way. So when I was younger, I started seeing that if people would just wear a different color or wear their hair slightly different to actually bring the eye to where it wants to be, the person was so much more confident. So it's about being so comfortable in your skin, confident in your clothes, and congruent in your energy. And with the feng shui for the body, it was allowing it to do that. So I want to let you have a chance to speak, Carrie, before I continue.
No, I love it. I'm because I know lots of the pieces of your entrepreneurial journey. There's a part of me that's like trying really hard to like keep it linear. So for those of you who need things to be linear, Cindia grew up pastor's kid, got the opportunity to go to college, did that. Came out of college, and you never actually got a quote unquote real job, right? You became a jewelry designer and an entrepreneur kind of immediately. I know you did have a hiatus. I'm not sure where this falls in your, I don't know if it's a hiatus or a complementary career where you at one point were a hairdresser, but.
Oh, I added, that's part of it. Yeah. So that's where this whole feng shui for the body came in. I started when I was working with the jewelry and clothes and design, people would come up to me. I mean, how I would dress was like my calling card. And people would come by just to see what I was wearing that day. And I noticed that the sales of jewelry would go up the level of I was dressing. And if I was tired one day or didn't put any effort into it, the sales were flat. And I was like, okay, I'm going to embrace that. So back to this woman at the party, she saw me and she said, I want that. And so she wrote me a check for $10,000 back 20 years ago, $10,000 plus airfare, plus accommodations and food, all expenses paid. I spent a week in the Bay Area with her. She did shopping, got her all ready for her LA art show. She went to LA and she was so confident. What a difference that she ended up, Carlos Santana came to the art show and she felt so confident that she struck up a conversation, and they had not any kind of physical chemistry, but they had a spark, and the photographers caught it and they put her and Carlos Santana and her artwork in a magazine together. Okay. So it was a huge increase for her visibility, for her. She made it happen, but she had the to do it. So it was from that first styling client that I'm like, I love this. This is just everything that I want to do. So I felt like I needed to be, a legal certified stylist. I went, studied, I went and got my license. I did certifications, everything that I could do. And then I just kept going with it to build up jewelry and clients and styling, and people would have me help them pack for trips. And then this is just like, even right after I met you, Carrie, is that I had a divine download that absolutely changed my life in 2014. And I actually marked my life before download and after download, because it was such a rendering of new information that it rocked me to my core. And I felt like I needed to give up all of that. So I just became nothing but energy working, helping people do the inner healing. And so after about 4 years of just strictly working on the inner healing and the money and the patterns, and I even have several people to thank for that. Julie Parker, Carrie, Diane Curry Sam. There's such a long story that I'm trying to abbreviate it, that I was hearing people say, well, now that I'm feeling so much better and that the money's rolling in and this, that, and the other, I need to have better photos for my website. I'm stepping out on stage. I need to have clothes. So I need to hire a stylist. And I was like, wait a minute, I have all of that background. And so I just started putting my own hat in the ring and saying, I can help with all of it. I can help with the style. I can help with the energy. And in fact, one of the client's big success story, I call it from towels to Tesla. Is that okay if I tell that story?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So I had this client come to me a couple of years ago, and her company, she had taken 10 years and her company was finally making £2 million a year. And so that was exciting. She had passed the 7-figure mark, and she heard of me and she came to me and said, okay, I have this goal. I want to take it and increase it by £5 million. So I want to go from £2 million to 7 million. Can you help me? And so we started working on it. And the very first thing I asked her basically was, okay, so you've gotten this far. Now I want you to imagine if you suddenly now had the £7 million revenue, what is it that you would buy? What's the first thing you would do? And she thought about.
Oh, Cindy, I lost you. You are frozen, my friend. So, oh, there you are. All right. I lost you for a second.
Did you hear where she said she would get a set of towels?
Oh no, I got you right at what would you do? And then you froze. So tell us again.
Okay. So right when I asked her what she would do if she had 5 million more in revenue, and she thought about it and she said a set of towels. And I said, oh, I think you can do that now. I think if you're the president of a $2 million company, you can go and get yourself a set of towels. So she actually did. By the next session, she had her beautiful set of towels, and that shifted a little something into her. So a year after that, so we've worked together for 2 years. A year after that, she was seeing increase in money was coming in. And I said, okay, are you dressing? Are you behaving, acting, embodying the energy of a £7 million CEO? And she thought about it. And since she lives across the pond and I couldn't drop what I was doing, she did hire a local stylist, but it was great. We coordinated and she bought a whole new wardrobe, that a £7 million CEO would wear. So she started embodying that. And would you know that she did that 5 million increase within 2 years? After she started dressing and acting and embodying, it had taken her 10 years to get up to 2 million. And then in the course of our 2 years, she increased by 5 million. And just in January, she said that they did $1 million in the first 2 weeks of January.
Okay, this is amazing. And I'm excited to talk about, so the part that you sort of, I don't think you glossed over, but the part that I want to drive home for people who are watching is that this has been a journey, right? This has been a 20-year journey. And that there was a moment with that dress, right? With the woman who hired you all those years ago and said, hey, can you dress me and help me get it? Basically, can you help me get into the energetic place where I've got what you've got going on, right? 20 years ago, thereabout, a woman approached you and said, can you do that? And you did it. But then there was something, your business evolved in a different way, right? Like we talk about, Cindy and I, just before we got on the call today, I was saying, you can't miss your path, right? You might take a detour, but eventually what you're meant to do will find you, right? If you allow it to. And I've really enjoyed being on your journey for the past several years. I met you when right after you had kind of decided, okay, I'm not a jewelry designer anymore. I'm not a stylist anymore. I'm an energy healer because I got this divine download. Now, the truth is, right, you were highly intuitive before that. And you've told that story on our show before, that, you've had these gifts for a while since you were young and they were sort of repressed by your parents. So when you got that download, right, it was permission to live in that energetic realm. And then doing the energy work, right, with clients helped you. I remember being just your friend through this process and over again saying, like, it's all connected, right? It's all part of the same thing. And you do need to dress the part, and you do need to, if you want to up level, which viewers of the show know that's a big theme of mine this year. If you want to up level, it's not just about energetic up leveling, right? Like it's all part of the same thing. You have to take some actions that are up level, just like you encourage this woman to buy the towels. But what I love about your story is over the course of being an energy healer, right? You went through everything that all of us entrepreneurs go through. How the heck do I tell people what I do? How do I find the tangible results? Like, you went through all of that too, only to I would love it if you would tell a little bit about what happened to you in 2017 and sort of I don't want to call it a rock bottom moment, but like a place of kind of despair that finally cracked you open. It's a broken open moment, right? That finally cracked you open to kind of say, all right, fine. I'm an energy stylist. Can you tell us that?
Sure. And Carrie, you're a big part of it. I mean, your reboot, becoming a clear vessel, just your BFF-ness, you really have been in the trenches with me as I've been with you. And I just appreciate you and love you. And so I started this business in 2014 with the download, and this was my income. And already the first year was better than the jewelry ever was. Even though the jewelry was good, the first year was even better. And then 2015 was like this. And then 2016 was like this. So I was living what I was teaching, and it was coming in. And we did so well in 2016 that we were unprepared for it tax-wise. Even though we had a bookkeeper, an accountant, and everything, we took out what they suggested. In 2017, bam, got a huge tax hit. And it was so shocking for us that it just took everything we'd had and a little bit more. And so I started out feeling so good, 2017, woo, woo, woo. And then partway into January, which we will not talk about, the party kind of got flat. And then the tax hit. And it just was rather devastating. And was like, what is the whole point? Like, I'm teaching this stuff, and then so great, you earn more money, and now it's gone. And so I felt really bad about that. And so I kind of licked my wounds about that. I don't mind paying the taxes. That's not it. I get so many benefits out of being a citizen of this country. It's the unpreparedness of it, even though I thought we were prepared. That was the shocking part of it. And to me, I think math should be 2 + 2 is 4. But somehow in the tax realm, the numbers are so different that it's 2 and 2 is 4 on a Thursday if you hold your tongue right and write with your left hand or something. It's the numbers change. So I felt really bad about it, and the joy of this kind of left me.
Yes.
And I thought all the hours and the work that I put in, and I had plans and I had to cancel vacations and I had, this whole beautiful lifestyle just suddenly kind of went like a souffle. And I just was unhappy about it. And that vibration did not do me any favors. So I was in a pattern, continuous flow interruptus myself. And I was getting a little chips on my shoulders. And I remember meeting with Carrie and Rachel Arteleas in one of our Team BFF meetings. And I just had no joy. I just didn't have anything to say. I felt like, what was the point? And Carrie and Rachel said something to me that did not feel good in the moment. And they just said, I feel like I'm bleeding out. Like I could just see all my life force energy, the money, everything just flowing out. And I felt like, the life force was leaving me. And instead of them going, oh, here, what can we do to help? They just felt like, well, maybe you need to bleed out.
Sorry.
And I was like, what? And they were just like, I can see now that they had compassion, but it didn't really feel like you had compassion. It was just like, yeah, and and they just said, let it bleed out. And so I was pissed off enough in a loving way to just let it happen. I just let my life force just kind of metaphorically, symbolically just go out, because there wasn't any joy. And I just let everything, and I was just like, okay, if I'm not supposed to do this business, then I'm not going to do this. It's the whole point is you earn money and then it just gets completely taken away. Then what's the point?
But I want to pause you, because you also, you were so great at following guidance and listening to your intuition. I mean, you guys, Cindia is so brilliant at that. Like anybody who's ever worked with her, it's amazing. Like she's so clear, right? But we all know we teach what we most need to learn, and we but there was this thing, right? You're all about helping people get into alignment. You were doing the work on them. She can see stuff in your energy grid and help you. Like she's literally amazing at this stuff. And I know it was super frustrating to you to be in that place of knowing that the work you did was important and valuable and impactful, and that you had all these clients who were having these success stories, and yet there was something missing from your life in doing that work, doing this amazing work that when you say it out loud sounds like it should be so fulfilling. Mm-hmm. There was something missing, right? In that period of your life where you became aware, like this isn't fun anymore, or it's not fun when there's not a lot to show for it, right?
And, some of the issues that people are coming to me are not light. I mean, all that background, all being the vault when I was a kid, seeing everything that I saw and being around people when I was young, I had no idea how much it was preparing me for this. Yeah. And yet I still need joy. I still need there to be lightness and fun. And I just wasn't feeling it anymore until the moment I was speaking in Canada, thanks to Diane Curry Sam, and I did an intuitive talk. I ran a workshop, about a 3-hour workshop, and the words, the right words, the intuitive words just came right out of my mouth, and the people there heard it, and they were like, "Oh my goodness, you combine the energy healing, the inner healing with the outer presentation, with the clothes and the styling, because the skin is where it all meets. You are the ambassador of your own brand. Your clothes are your marketing." So what is so interesting is that, yes, I can sit there and work with people about their energy and their patterns and their money. But what I was seeing is that the people who were making such great strides, the people who were going on a much faster pace and were the people who were taking the advice and embodying the energy, not just thinking about it or trying the energy on for a few minutes and then going back to their old habits. So what I realized is the faster that people can embody what they truly want, the quicker they're going to manifest it. And so there are so many things that go.
Sorry, which I just want to point out, that's what finally happened. When we were telling you to bleed out, right? We were just saying, let go of the struggle, right? Mm-hmm. Surrender. And we hear surrender a lot, and a lot of us think we've surrendered. But, Rachel and I, just being your friends, sent you that event and said, have no agenda. Don't plan your speech. Don't try, just stop it. Stop trying to sell stuff. Stop trying to just stop and just go and be of service to the people who are there. And you came back a changed person, right? You came back with so much validation that the people were there, finally saw it and got it and were begging you to work with them.
Well, that's a sweet spin on that.
They were, Cindia. They were. No, I remember you came back saying, I have a client and they saw it and they got it. And I'm so excited. And they're willing to pay for it. I deserve to charge for it. And I've seen in you since, right, is boom. Now she's in even more alignment, right? Mm-hmm. Now and I see you, Cindia has a Facebook group called Shoes and Chakras. You guys have to join. It's amazing. But where she talks about all of the stuff, she's bringing in all the pieces of her, and they're aligned and they make sense and they have nothing to do with, how much did you struggle with trying to do that sentence? I help blank to blank, so blank, or try to, I know there's a lot of people watching who struggle with this. So,
I was a poster child of struggling. People cringed. Anyone who knew me cringed. They're like, oh God, not this part of the networking or not this part of the thing. Because as soon as anybody asks Cindia what she does, it's torture. It's just plain torture. And I had such a vibration about how do I even describe what I do. I went through 400 incarnations just trying to figure it out. How do you describe something so intangible, right? And now with the combining of the money and the energy styling, it just fits together like a glove. And people who are wanting to clear their energy stuff, it happens in a session, but it also happens in real life when we go out, when I help people introduce their energy to the much higher vibration that they're wanting. So up-leveling is the whole thing that I do in the money, the energy, and the style. That when those gremlins pop up, when those voices from the mother, you can't wear that, or the ex-husband or whatever, all those things that make a person feel self-conscious or lack of confidence or insecure, when those things come up, when we're up-leveling in person or over the call like this, man, we can clear them right in the moment. So there's styling, which is taking that person's energy and helping them express it through clothes, and then there's also the inner work, but putting them together is it's just catnip to me.
Well, it's magic, and it's been what's missing. So one, I want to just thank you guys who are still with us today. We're a little longer than usual, and I'm so grateful. I'm so glad that I asked you to give the real and raw version of your story, Cindia, because I know so many of us resonate with it. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of tired of listening to packaged and canned stories that, it's great, right? They do a great job of telling their experience in a really brief amount of time so that they can get to pitching their product or doing whatever they're doing. But I remember in the throes of my early entrepreneurial journey being frustrated that I couldn't package my story like that yet. And I think it's because we're not hearing the realness of people's journeys, the realness of all the pieces of what makes them who they are, right? You started in your early childhood with the family that you were born into, and the things that we've done over the course of our entire life that lead, right? And the various epiphanies we've had along the way, and the various incarnations of our, aligned self along the way to get to doing the work that we're doing now. So I'm grateful that you told your big story, just to honor people for wherever they are on the entrepreneurial journey, whatever incarnation you are in your business, that it's the right place for you to be right now, right? And you're growing and evolving and changing. But I got sidetracked because what I wanted to talk about was what I love about what you do, Cindia, is I'm all about alignment. I'm all about energetic alignment. I'm actually all about permission to be 100% truly you. And having worked with you for a while, like I've had a hard time, well, this doesn't have anything to do with working with you actually, but I've had a hard time dealing with that, like fake it till you make it, or you've got to dress the part. Because I want to be 100% authentic and aligned me, right? Like putting on a pencil skirt and heels and a blazer to me would be dressing the part if I'm going to speak to a room full of people. But in my current state, right, that wouldn't feel like 100% aligned me. And so what I like about the work that you do is you have the stylist background and the fashion industry background and just that energetic ability to look at someone and see, oh, they should wear this and they will be aligned if they have their hair like that. And helping me get there to where I can embody whatever it is that I'm meant to be wearing on stage. And you know, because I would love to show up on stage in yoga pants and a stained t-shirt, right? But actually I wouldn't, but I guess what I'm trying.
I guess that's the point. If it's about alignment. So if your brand is yoga pants and a stained shirt, then embrace that entirely. And if that's how you get clients, if those are the people who say, oh my gosh, my coach is a stained t-shirt yoga person and she is, you know, owning it, then go for it. And there's kind of a funny little situation that's happening out there. There's a woman who has, like, I don't even know her name or anything. I've been hearing about this, has this bright red hair and she has tattoos and maybe even piercings. I don't know. And she makes tons of money. Okay. So women, I've heard, say, oh, that's how she's making money. She's got red hair and tattoos. And so I've heard people been going out and getting red hair and tattoos because they think that's going to make them money. Well, if it's not them, they're going to be so self-conscious. It's not going to look right. It's not going to feel right. And so it's only going to highlight their awkwardness. So I'm really about supporting your energy and aligning it. So if that's who you truly are and you can speak to women who want to make money and want to expand their business, and you can do it from the stained t-shirt perspective, but own it.
Right.
Then go for it. But if that's not really your brand, if that's kind of like, I just didn't really feel like putting on a little extra.
Well, what you've helped me realize, and I hope what people on the show or people watching or listening are realizing is for many of it, well, I feel like what you help people do is bridge the gap, right? From, I do this great thing with my clients. It's a future self meditation, right? And so you get all into energetic, the feeling place, aligned, you visualize, you see it. It's amazing, right? But you get to see yourself 5 to 10 years from now, right? And what you're really seeing is your ideal self. You're seeing who you want to be. And when we do this meditation, you have a conversation with your future self. They tell you, it's great, right? But what I find is there's a gap, right, between where we see ourselves now and where we want to be. And we think that once I become successful, then I'll be able to be that future self, right? But what you know, just from even the energy, from being a stylist and someone who, that's why she's so good at what she does now, guys. But from being a stylist and from being someone who works with people on an energetic level, is that it's the other way around, right? You have to embody it first. You have to be that. You have to actually own. That's why that future self visualization that I do with people is so powerful, is because it gets them to step into that energy of, oh, I am her. She is real. And one of the questions we ask our future self is, you know, what did you do, right? What did you do to get here? And normally she says things like, I let go of fear. I started to think that I was, to know that I could do it. You know, she reminds you need to step into the energy of what it is that you want to be. And what I love about what you do is you take what every stylist says, which is like, your clothes matter, how the world views you matter. You feel differently when you put on, because let's face it, I feel differently about myself if I'm wearing my running clothes and a sweaty, stained running hat. I embody a certain energy that I love when I'm like that. But I feel differently about myself when I'm wearing that than when I'm, is it a persona? It's not a persona. Maybe you'll have the word, but when I'm, wearing a fancy evening gown, right? You embody a different energy based on the clothes that you're wearing. And I lost my train of thought, Cindia. Can you find it for me?
Well, I think what you're saying is there isn't like a certain box that then you have to be put into what's your costume. And I say that everything that we're wearing is a costume. I mean, every person's, and if you don't believe it, look at clothes 10 years ago, 20 years ago. If somebody can dress up like, oh, it's 50s night or it's 80s night, you're wearing a costume, right? If you look at 100 years ago, everybody had completely different clothes. And if you look a picture in 100 years from now, we're still going to be dressed differently. So you might think it's your style today. Today's style is tomorrow or yesterday's costume. So
I love that.
Everybody is wearing something that expresses something about them. And you don't have to, like I tell potential clients or people who become clients at first are like, but I don't want to have to put on a corporate suit to get these clients. And I'm like, if you put on a corporate suit and that's not you, you're not going to get the clients because it's not going to fit you. It's not something that you're putting on fake. It's something that is an extension and an expression of you.
I love that. I love what you're saying about costumes. I feel like we could, and I think that's what I was trying to say with persona. We could talk about this forever. I want to be respectful of your time. Everybody who's listening, we're a little bit longer than we usually are. So thank you guys for just being here and being part of the conversation. I really hope that everybody who's here had your aha, like you had a moment where you resonated with me or with Cindia, and I would actually love to know what that is. So if you don't mind leaving us a comment and letting us know what your aha was for today, we promise to read them all and reply when appropriate. To get in touch with you, Cindia, where do people go? If somebody's ready or not, they just want more of you. Where can we send them?
Well, it's so funny because I just had another client come on and I said, I don't have a freebie right now. I don't have a funnel. I don't have a sales thing. I don't do any of that. And she's like, fabulous, you're hired. She was that was her selling point. She loved that. So I just have people now. I just started this brand new group. It's a few weeks old. It's really fun. It's called Shoes and Chakras. So if you just go to Facebook and go into your little search bar and just put Shoes and Chakras, it'll come up. And that's where we're literally engaging there. We're having real conversations. We're doing things similar to this. We're talking about anything that has to do with money, energy, style, and spirituality, energy. It's really fun.
I love it there. What I like about your group is that you pose challenging questions. You're really getting us to think differently and to, I love any group that shows me to myself, right? It helps me look, you guys know I'm a personal growth junkie, and a huge part of being in that Shoes and Chakras group is you challenge me to look at things I never considered looking at before, like to see things differently. So I really appreciate you and that group. So if you guys want to connect with Cindia, Facebook, the group is called Shoes and Chakras, and it's rad. Come join us there. And everyone, as you remember, today's episode is sponsored by the Body Mind Business Reboot. So if you're ready to get into physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual alignment with the highest call, your highest personal calling, and the highest calling of your business, I urge you to check it out. Cindia says do it. You're probably going to lose weight. You're probably going to have epiphanies, but you're going to get into cellular alignment with your truth. You're going to balance your hormones. You're going to fix your broken metabolism, and it's going to be rad. So check it out, carrierolldon.com/reboot. Okay, Cindia Carrere, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
And everybody, thanks so much for watching and listening. Whatever platform you're on, leave a comment, leave a review if it's appropriate, and we will see you all on the next episode of the Carrie Roldan Show. Talk to you later.